To draw the beach scene, the first thing I'm going to do is draw the horizon line. And to draw the horizon line without using a ruler, I use this trick. I am going to draw a horizon line about 2/3 down from the top. Okay, so right about there. To start the beach scene, I'm going to first sketch out the scene. So I want to draw a horizon line about 1/3 down, about 2/3 up. So I use this trick of drawing without a ruler. I take my pencil and my hand, and I'm going to brace my hand against the edge of the canvas because there's a little edge that I can push against. I'm going to start here and freeze my hand and then just drag my hand along the edge so that I draw a straight line. Okay, and you get a fairly straight line. You can always use a ruler if you feel like you need to sharpen it up a little bit. So if I measure there and then take the same measurement right here, it's fairly good, fairly even. Okay, then I look at my picture and I see that it has water, the water edge coming in from the right. So I'm going to paint the water edge or draw the water edge right there. And then it has a coconut tree coming in. So it has the main part of the tree. Then it has some fronds. And remember that you can change this if you want. You can put it higher or lower. You can make it smaller, bigger. You can add things in there or take out things. I'm not going to draw in super detail. I just want to remember that the fronds go here in my painting, so I can kind of think about the composition, that there's a lot of information going on here. So I want to balance that with some other objects or information. So this beach has two islands. There's one island like this and another island like this. And that's it for my scene. Pretty simple. I think I might change the water. And remember, this is still just a sketch. You can change it as you paint. All right. And then there's a sun. And the sun in the picture is somewhere over here, which I can change my frond. So I can put the sun maybe setting right there. And that'll work out. So just organize your composition as you need to. Okay, make sure that it's balanced, that you have, information over here, or objects over here that are balanced over here. And then from top to bottom, it's also balanced. And that's it for the beach scene. I'm not going to draw any more because I'm going to end up painting over a lot of it anyway. All right, next thing I'm going to do is paint this sky. So I'm going to turn the canvas vertically because it's easier for me to paint up and down than from side to side. So to paint the sunset, I'm going to use red and yellow and white. So I'm going to scoop out some red and put it on my paper plate here. You can use your palette knife or your brush to scoop out your paint. Just remember to really, really wash your brush out if you are using the brush. Palette knife is a little easier, you just wipe it off. Okay, I'm going to put down yellow. I probably need a little more yellow than I do of red. Okay, and then some white. And that's for the clouds. So again, wash off my brush, take some white, put it right there. Okay. So when I start painting the sunset in, I don't want to actually have any white mixed into my colors. Dry off this brush so it doesn't have too much water in it. Then I'm going to start with the red, and I'm going to start at the top here, or top of my painting, but it's really the left-hand side. And I'm going to paint right over my drawing. I can still see it through the paint. Okay, so start with some red right here. And then I'm going to take the yellow, and I'm going to mix the yellow right into this red, making the orange. Still going up and down. I'm not really pressing hard with the brush. I'm just touching maybe about a third of it down and to the canvas. So when I push down maybe like a third, okay? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe off this paint off my brush because I don't want so much orange. I'm going to take the yellow, okay, and I'm going to mix my yellow into my orange just like this. So this is called wet on wet painting. And I'm going to blend all the way to the horizon line. Okay, so this only works when all of the paint is wet. If the paint is dry, the colors won't blend. And you can't just add water and make the paint sweat again because it's acrylic paint. So once it dries, it's pretty permanent. Okay. Go all the way to the edge here. I also don't want a harsh line right there, so I really want to blend my colors in. Okay, like this. I also want to smooth out all those brush strokes. Okay, so I'm barely touching the canvas as I brush back and forth. Remember, it's easier to paint up and down than going side to side. That's why I turn my canvas vertically. Okay. If you've ever watched Bob Ross paint, this is what he does. He does wet on wet painting. So that means he's brushing in some paint in the background and then he paints on top of it so that everything blends together. And he's barely touching this canvas as he blends all this paint. So you want a nice, smooth, even gradation. And I'm going to turn my canvas so you can see that. Okay, so it's going to go from red to yellow and then some oranges in between. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the clouds in. So next I'm going to use my round brush. So my round brush is this one. The first brush I used was a flat brush. So the flat brush is nice. This is a flat brush, is nice for trying to get in a lot of paint very evenly. Now I'm going to use the round brush. Looks like this. I'm using the large round brush, but you could also use a medium-sized round brush. Okay, I'm going to take some white paint just on the tip, just like that. Okay, and I'm going to make arcs, kind of like rainbow shapes. Okay, because these are the top of the clouds. And so I'm just going to paint these kind of half circles like that. And then I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to paint back and forth side by side and blend the bottom of that cloud into the paint. Okay, so it looks like that. I'm going to take some more white. I'm going to go on top of that again. Okay, I'm making these swirly strokes so that they look like clouds. Okay, and then at the bottom, I'm just going to barely touch the canvas as I blend that into the sky. Okay, so I'm going to add a cloud here, maybe a smaller one. I'm just going to blend it in like that. Okay, so you can change the colors of your cloud if you want to add more of a, let's say, a row of pink clouds. Just mix up pink Okay, and let's say you have more pink clouds in front right here, so those same kind of swirly brush strokes, and then go back and forth to blend in. You could add some clouds in the distance of this distant sky, maybe right there. You don't have to fill in the whole painting with clouds, but I do want you to try to paint clouds using this technique at least in some of your sky. Maybe another cloud here. Now I have the sun setting in my picture, but I could also paint the sun behind my cloud. How you would paint the sun behind your cloud is you would just paint it, let's say right there. Okay. I'm just gonna fill in down to the bottom here, to the top of that horizon line. Okay, and then I'm going to leave this part alone on the sky on the other side over here, because that's where I'm going to paint my tree. So I'm not going to worry about it right now. Okay, painting in the sun. I'm just going to use my yellow, mix a little white into the yellow. So it's very, very light, and I'm going to paint in my sun. But I have pencil here, and so that pencil is going to kind of darken up where I'm painting. It's going to mix. So I might have to paint this sun a few times until I paint it over the pencil, until that dark line goes away. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll probably paint it again, and I'll probably let it dry and then paint it again. Okay. All right, so that at the end of your painting session, you should have the sky done with some clouds, right? And then let this dry.